how to print and cut without getting those weird cuts. And this works for stickers, also for any images that you're making, like cake toppers, or if you're making anything that goes on a shirt on printable vinyl. And what I'm doing here is cleaning it out, and I'm also hitting those little white parts so that you can see in the example. Anything that you do here is going to be an option as print, or print then cut, or just cut. But just know that whatever your cut looks like, that's what the cut part of the item that you're going to print first is going to look like. So if you see those lines within that, it's going to cut those once it prints. So that's a good guide for you to know what does it look like once it cuts. Now I'm going to keep it as is for now so you can see it once it's already done. And a little backstory to this, I became engaged for Thanksgiving of 2022, right as I had a piece of pie in my mouth, like a huge ass piece of pie in my mouth. He asked me to marry him. So this is kind of a little funny story. So that's what I'm going to make a sticker of. So I didn't know what to write for this scenario, but best day so far, because there are many more to come. So here's the example. We're going to keep going. I am writing this font, or using this font, so you can also see what also can happen and what to look out for before you go to print and then cut. Because what we do sometimes is, so we love our design, we're ready to print, we go to print, but when it cuts, it gets really funky. And even though you know some of these steps, like, oh yes, add offset to the background. Okay, got it. So that's what I'm doing right here. I'm adding an offset, but that doesn't mean that it's ready to cut. So here's what I'm doing now. Changing the colors for what I want. I want the white on the best days so far. I want the outside, the section that is my offset, to be black, because it'll help it stand out. And, you know, now in my head, I'm not going to have those cuts in between the letters, like in that line there. I'm not going to have those. Okay, that works for me. And I've heard of flatten, so I do flatten. Oh, I'm safe now, right? But here's another thing. I want to add just another little design to this. I'm going to fix the font the way I want it, but I want to add a ring to it. So in this moment, I'm going to go to Google, grab me a ring, and I really like this one because it has the sparkles. And I save it, I bring it, upload it. Again, whatever you see that's going to cut, it actually is going to cut. So when I'm doing my upload here, you see it's matching exact on both, because it's not really like by color for this one. But if it were colored, or if it were design on it or anything, you would see it there. So I actually prefer silver. So I have a silver engagement ring. I'm going to change it to silver here. And then I can flatten it. That's what everybody says, right? Great. Then I go to make it. And what happens is, other than my image being too large, I'm going to fix that. What happens is automatically your system is going to try to put bleed on it. Personally, bleed I use when I'm doing a solid image because I want the outside to stay bold. But look at how it's going to look here, and this is how you can catch it. You can almost not even tell that that's a ring. So go in and remove it. Okay, now I'm happy with my image. If I were to print and then cut, it would print perfect. What would happen is that it would cut every little part of that ring. It would cut in between the letters. It would cut through the pie. And here's how you can tell. This one I'm going to do in red. Anything you can see in red, it's going to cut. So let's show you. You see how that's going to mess up your design quite a bit if it's not what you want. It's going to cut in the pie. It's going to cut your ring totally off. You're going to have to pick up each little piece. That's not going to work for me, because I just really am not going to be willing to put all that time to keep every little piece. So what I like to do is layer another offset on top of it. You can make it as thick or as thin as you want, because even if it is thin or thinner, you still have a way to remove all of the sections you don't want cut. So let me show you this one. If you see there's still white sections in the ring area, I don't want them to cut. Or do you want it to cut? Depends on what you prefer. Because if it's not really big or things that you're going to totally lose, you can still do it that way. I prefer it all a solid picture for my sticker. So you can do contour and remove it. Now here you flatten. It looks like it disappeared, but you can always check it again. And I'm going to do this one with a green because that's the good. And what you will do is anything that's green is what's going to cut around, right? So, hey, it's not going to cut any of my image out. Everything else is going to stay there. Perfect. I'm ready to cut. And here's the different papers that I use. For this first paper is when I do stickers, glossy stickers. And they work really good for anything that you don't want to be cutting individually. Like here, the backpack and the apple. I do frosty. For Frosty is good because for labels, you can actually see through them. So these are going to go on Rice Krispies and you can see through them, or the candles. Then there's also the matte vinyl sticker paper. That's really good for if you're going to put this on something like a bottle of something liquid. And I love holographic. Make some awesome stickers, custom gifts for any of our friends.